My name is Jay Pryor. I started out in this life as Janet Pryor. Let me be more specific. I was born female. I lived the first 35 years of my life as a woman. And at the age of almost 35, I started taking my first shots of testosterone that give you this studly image before you. Now, you might guess I've been through a few things. I'll never forget that day when I was 16 years old, driving my parents' car, and I had had it. I'd driven that country road 100 times, and that night, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was ready. And I could see the dust flying as the speedometer went up to 100 miles an hour. And I aimed for that culvert, and I flipped it. And the car went end over end over end. And I came out without a scratch. And let me tell you, all I was really, really angry because I was still alive. 2 years later, several other suicide attempts later, I landed myself in a psychiatric unit. I was 18 years old. I was on a psychiatric unit with 35-year-old schizophrenics, 40-year-old manic depressants, and a 50-year-old woman that was so depressed that they used shock treatment to finally help her. And there I was, 18 years old, hating my own guts because I was gay. We've come a long way since then, haven't we? That psych ward was the best gift I've ever been given in my life. That started me on a path of personal and spiritual development that now I get to teach and thrive and live in. See, I'm a spiritual and personal development practitioner. When I say practitioner, I mean I practice this stuff. Because I don't wake up every day all rainbows and sunshine, right? I'm a human being. And sometimes I wake up loaded for bear. I have 2 7-year-olds, right? And I tell everybody all the time that children, or being a parent, is the most transformational experience I've ever had, and I've had a sex change. So I think that says a lot. Now, I share with you my transgender story for a reason. There are 49% of transgender people attempt suicide. Transgender teens are 46% more likely to attempt suicide than their cisgendered peers. But most of all, I share with you for 2 very specific reasons. One, at some point, one of you is going to have a friend or a neighbor or a cousin that comes out to you as a young transgender person, and you're going to say, I know a guy, and you're going to point him to me. Because when I was a young lesbian, driving that car 100 miles an hour, I didn't have somebody like me. I didn't have anybody that looked like me. And it is so important, and I'm out as a transgender person because it's a full expression of who I am, but also because I want transgender teens to be able to look at me and go, whoa, hey, I can do this and still thrive and have a happy, successful life. The other main reason that I share my transgender story with you a little bit is that when I tell you I'm transgender, that I was born female, most of you go, what? Yeah. Because some of you believed when you walked in this room that you could pick a transgender person out in a crowd. And guess what? No, you can't. And today isn't the transgender story. I do that keynote. I'm happy to do it anytime. But today, that's not what we're here for. Today, we're here for you. This is about you and your life and how much power you have to be responsible, 100% responsible, for what's going on in your life. When I say 100% responsible, what I mean is response-able. If you look up any other coach, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, for example, the very first habit is to be 100% responsible for your life. And when we're talking responsibility, just like Covey says, we are talking about response ability, your ability to respond to situation and to your life. And all of us know, especially because we live in Kansas, that we have a lot of stuff that we could respond to. right? We got a lot of stuff going on. And in our country right now, we have a lot of stuff going on. And if we want to, we could be hijacked daily. So my job today is to empower you, to give you tools, to have you conscious and clear and woke up to your own power so that all that stuff out there doesn't affect your ability to respond to your life. So first, what I want to do is give you a little overview of human being as we know it today. First of all, I want you to know that everything I teach and everything I talk about is a practice, right? It's a muscle that we flex. And everything I teach and everything I talk about is not new. Everything I say today, you already know it. You've already known it for a long time, and you can access it out there anytime. What I want for today, what I'm inviting you to do today, is to have personal and spiritual development become a practice that you engage in on a daily basis, like brushing your teeth daily basis. To have it so important, and in terms of importance in your life, that you would never, ever, ever skip it. Because I am telling you, and I think before I'm done you'll know, that personal and spiritual development is the key that will have you most able to respond powerfully to your life. So let me give you just an overview, right? And most of you know this stuff, right? You know it all. That 0 to 7 years old is the time when our bodies and brains start to form. And depending on what your life was like, 0 to 7, and it does not matter whether you had a traumatic childhood or you had an idyllic childhood, it doesn't matter. 0 to 7, you got yourself programmed up to believe certain things about the world. And 0 to 7 years old, all of that went straight into your subconscious because you didn't have the cognitive ability. Your brain was not formed yet. At the age of 8 is when we get our cognition brain. And that's when we have the ability to tell stories about the things that happen to us. That's when we make up stories about it. 0 to 7 years old, it's all in the subconscious. And that's when you decide things like people are good or people are bad. Like life is hard or life can be pretty good. 0 to 7, every one of you had those things come into your subconscious. And now, whether you believe it or not, because I don't care if you believe me, whether you believe it or not, those programs are still running all the time, all the time. If you have an iPhone, you can double-click lightly on the iPhone, and all the programs that you've had when you checked the weather, when you checked the news, when you looked at your Facebook earlier, all those things are going to pop up. And all those things are running in the background, eating your battery. Your brain is exactly like that. You are running programs in the background, and you don't even know they're going. But they're going, and some of them are sucking the life out of you, and you don't even know it. And so becoming conscious and waking up is about starting to get in an inquiry or get curious about what is this program that may be running me instead of me running it. So that's basically the design of human, and our job, my job as a coach and in personal and spiritual development, we go looking for, whoa, why did I have that strong reaction to that other human being that just really made me mad, right? Because by now, you all know that it's not them, don't you? Don't you know that by now? Don't we know by now that there is nothing out there that is really, don't you know this by now? Some of you are nodding your heads and some of you are going, I don't know. So let me affirm it for you. My work is called Lean Inside. My book is called Lean Inside. Everything I do is about getting you to lean inside and know that everything you need to succeed is within you. Also, all of your triggers are within you, and it's all about you and not about them.